Menopause isn't just a one-day event that happens to you. It's a passage you can move through with intention, pleasure, and power. The choices you make each day can profoundly shape your experience of this transition. And on the other side, there are gifts waiting for you: clarity, freedom, wisdom, and a sense of coming home to your true self. Welcome back to Pleasure in the Pause, the podcast dedicated to empowering midlife women to connect to their bodies, pleasure, and power in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. I am your host, Gabriella Espinosa, and it is my pleasure to be here with you. Today is a special episode. October 18th marks World Menopause Awareness Day, and this entire month is dedicated to raising awareness, breaking down stigma, and supporting women through every stage of this transition. And here's what makes this year particularly meaningful. The theme for 2025, as declared by the International Menopause Society, is lifestyle medicine. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that this is music to my ears, because everything I teach, everything I guide women through in my work is grounded in this very framework, that the choices we make each day have the power to shape how we move through menopause, not as a Band-Aid, not as a quick fix, but as a radical, evidence-based approach to reclaiming your health, your pleasure, and your power during this transition. So today, I want to take you on a journey. We're going to bust some of the most common myths about menopause that keep us stuck. We'll explore what lifestyle medicine really means and walk through its 6 pillars, especially focusing on energy, vitality, fitness, and nutrition, because that's what so many of you have been asking about. I'll share what's changing in menopause care right now, the new tools and approaches that are expanding our options, and I'll give you practical action steps you can start today. But here's what I really want you to walk away with: the gifts of menopause. Because this transition, as challenging as it can be, also offers profound opportunities for transformation, self-discovery, and freedom. So let's begin. When I first started experiencing perimenopause in my early 40s, I had no idea what was happening to me. I'd never even heard the word perimenopause. I was running on empty, juggling motherhood, running a yoga studio, trying to be everything to everyone. And my body started speaking to me in ways I couldn't ignore anymore. The anxiety that came out of nowhere, the heart palpitations that kept me up at night, the achy joints, the brain fog, the low libido. I felt like my body had betrayed me, like I was losing parts of myself that had once defined me. And I was so confused because no one had prepared me for this. And here's what I've discovered, both through my own journey and through working with hundreds of women. There are some persistent myths about menopause that keep us stuck, struggling, and disconnected from what's actually possible for us. So let's start by busting a few common myths. Myth number 1: menopause is just about hot flashes and hormones. Nope. Menopause is a full spectrum transformation impacting your brain, mood, metabolism, sleep, nervous system, libido, and emotional well-being. When we reduce it to just hot flashes and hormones, we miss the complete picture of what's actually happening in our bodies and in our lives. Myth number 2: there's nothing you can do. You just have to suck it up and deal with it. False. There is so much you can do. In fact, the World Health Organization now recognizes that lifestyle medicine can improve menopause outcomes, from fatigue and weight gain to sleep, mood, and more. The research published in the journal Climacteric just this year confirms that lifestyle strategies can ease symptoms, reduce chronic disease risk, and genuinely improve our quality of life. Myth number 3: this is the beginning of the end. Let's reframe that. What if it's actually the beginning of your most vibrant, liberated chapter yet. What if menopause is an invitation into deeper self knowledge, clearer boundaries, greater freedom, and more authentic pleasure? The research is clear. How we move through midlife can determine not just how we feel now, but how we age, how we protect brain health, bone density, heart health, and emotional vitality into our 60s, 70s, and beyond. So let's talk about how we do that and what lifestyle medicine really means. Before we dive into the pillars, I want to define what lifestyle medicine actually is, because this term might be new to some of you. Lifestyle medicine is an evidence based approach that uses lifestyle interventions to prevent, treat, and even reverse chronic conditions. It focuses on 6 core pillars: nutrition, physical activity, sleep, stress management and mental health, avoiding risky substances, and social connection. And what makes it so powerful for menopause is that it recognizes we're not just treating symptoms, we're supporting the whole person. The International Menopause Society chose this as their 2025 theme because the research is clear. These lifestyle factors can ease menopausal symptoms, reduce chronic disease risk, and significantly improve quality of life. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I've been talking about many of these elements all along, particularly pleasure, sexual health, movement, and mindset. Because here's what I've discovered, both in my own journey and through working with women. When you support your body with these foundational practices, the effects ripple outward into every area of your life. Your relationships deepen, your creativity flows, your pleasure expands, your work feels more aligned, and your sense of purpose becomes clearer. So let me walk you through these 6 pillars, not just as isolated practices, but as interconnected pathways to the vibrant, pleasurable life you deserve. And I'll focus especially on the areas my community has been asking about most: energy, vitality, fitness, and nutrition. Pillar 1: nutrition that fuels your life. Healthy eating plays a key role in how you experience menopause and in protecting your long-term health. During midlife, hormonal changes affect weight, body composition, heart health, and bone strength. The right dietary choices can help manage symptoms, reduce disease risk, and support overall well-being. Here's what the research shows. Healthier diets are linked with lower risks of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and some cancers. Mediterranean-style eating patterns, rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, olive oils, nuts, fish, and lean meats are particularly powerful. And here's something really interesting. It's been shown that diets high in fruits and vegetables may actually reduce hot flashes and night sweats. On the flip side, ultra-processed foods like packaged snacks, sugary drinks, and fast food are associated with higher risks of heart disease, mental health issues, and early death. Your food is information for your body. When you nourish yourself well, you're giving your body the building blocks it needs to create energy, balance, hormones, and thrive. And here's how this ripples out. When your blood sugar is stable and you're properly nourished, you have the energy for pleasure. You're not too tired for intimacy. You have the mental clarity for creative projects. You show up more present in your relationships. You have the vitality to pursue your purpose. So here are 5 key action steps you can take today. Choose Mediterranean-style eating. Vegetables, fruits, whole grains, olive oil, nuts, fish, and lean meats. Start your day with protein to stabilize blood sugar and sustain energy. Include calcium-rich foods daily and monitor vitamin D for bone health. Cut back on ultra-processed foods and stay well hydrated. Add magnesium-rich foods like dark leafy greens and almonds for sleep, stress support, and bone health. Remember, small, consistent changes are more effective than quick fixes. Pillar 2, movement that creates vitality. Physical activity is one of the most powerful tools to counteract the effects of estrogen loss during menopause. The evidence is clear. Regular exercise reduces hot flashes and night sweats, improves sleep quality, supports bone and muscle health, protects your heart, and boosts your mood. Here's what happens during menopause. Reduced physical activity is common and it contributes to weight gain, particularly around the middle. But when you move your body regularly, you counteract these changes. Exercise supports heart health, bone density, metabolic function, and mental well being. But here's what I want you to know: the best exercise is the one you enjoy and keep up regularly. Even small amounts make a meaningful difference. And here's the ripple effect. When you move your body regularly, your energy increases rather than depletes. You feel stronger, more confident. Your libido often improves because movement increases blood flow and body confidence. You sleep better, which means you wake up ready to engage with life. You have more capacity for the things that matter: your work, your relationships, your creative pursuits. So here are 5 key action steps you can take. Aim for 150 to 300 minutes of moderate aerobic exercise weekly: walking, cycling, dancing, swimming. Include strength training at least 2 to 3 days per week to protect bones and maintain muscle. Start with morning movement to boost energy all day. Even 10 minutes counts. And break up your sitting with movement stacks. Think about 10 squats when you get up out of your chair, shaking your body, doing some hip circles, or maybe some push-ups. Choose activities you enjoy to make it sustainable. Dance, walk with friends, join a class. Consistency beats intensity. Find what feels good in your body. Pillar 3, restorative sleep. Restorative sleep is vital for brain health, heart health, bone health, and emotional well-being during and after menopause. Poor sleep can worsen symptoms and raise the risk of chronic disease. Sleep disruption affects memory, attention, and concentration. And ongoing sleep problems in midlife increase the risk of dementia later in life. Yet so many women struggle with sleep during menopause. The hormonal shifts, the night sweats, the racing thoughts, all of it can disrupt your sleep. And here's what makes it more challenging. Sleep issues can intensify other symptoms, creating a cycle that's hard to break. But small daily habits can significantly improve sleep quality. And here's the ripple effect. When you're well rested, you have capacity for pleasure. You're not running on empty. You can be present with your partner. You have bandwidth for creativity. You make better decisions in your work. You can access your deeper sense of purpose rather than just surviving each day. So here are my 5 key action steps for you. Keep a consistent sleep schedule, same bedtime and wake time, even on the weekends. Create a cool, dark, quiet environment. Aim for 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Power down screens 60 to 90 minutes before bed and dim lights to support melatonin. Avoid caffeine after midday and limit alcohol, which disrupts sleep quality. Try magnesium supplements or calming tea and practice gentle breathwork before bed. If insomnia persists, ask about cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, the recommended first-line treatment. Pillar 4, mental health and stress management. Midlife can be an intensely stressful time. Many women are balancing family responsibilities, careers, and health changes, all while experiencing the physical, psychological, and metabolic shifts of menopause. This transition can increase perceived stress, which is linked to worse menopause symptoms. Here's what the research shows. Stress can intensify hot flashes and night sweats and worsen overall well being. Women who experience high stress often report poorer sleep, lower mood, and greater difficulty coping with daily challenges. Work related stress, low job control, and low fitness levels may also make symptoms harder to manage. And let's talk about nervous system regulation. Cortisol dysregulation and adrenal fatigue are common during and after menopause, which means you need intentional pauses throughout your day to reset your stress response. But here's the good news: mindfulness practices, relaxation, and stress reduction strategies have been shown to lessen symptom severity and improve resilience. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and relaxation techniques improves coping skills, lowers stress levels, and can reduce hot flashes and night sweats. Even art and music have been shown to reduce stress at all life stages, including midlife. Taking care of your mental well-being during menopause is essential for easing symptoms, protecting long-term health, and improving quality of life. When you manage stress effectively, you have access to pleasure. Chronic stress shuts down desire for intimacy, for creativity, for connection. But when your nervous system feels safe, you have tools to process emotions and everything opens up. Your relationships improve because you're not constantly in survival mode. Your work becomes more fulfilling because you have the mental space for innovation. Your sense of purpose clarifies because you're not just reacting, you're responding from a place of feeling grounded. So here are my 5 key action steps for you. Practice daily mindfulness or breath work. Even 5 minutes shifts your nervous system. Build in micro breaks every 90 minutes. Think about a 2-minute eye break, a body scan, or a breath practice. Move your body to reduce cortisol. Walking, dancing, yoga all calm stress. Set boundaries as self-care. Say no to what drains you, yes to what fills you. And seek support when needed. Therapy, coaching, women's circles. You don't have to do this alone. When you create space to process your feelings and practice self-compassion, everything shifts. Pillar number 5, avoiding risky substances. Avoiding or reducing risky substances like nicotine, alcohol, and illicit drugs is especially important during menopause. These substances can worsen symptoms, accelerate health risks, and reduce quality of life. Let's talk about smoking first. Smoking is linked to earlier menopause, more severe hot flashes, and increased risks of heart disease, osteoporosis, and fractures. But here's the good news. Quitting smoking at midlife improves symptoms, strengthens bones, and lowers your risk of heart disease. Even if you gain a little weight after quitting, the health benefits far outweigh this. Now, alcohol. The relationship between alcohol and menopause is complex. Some studies suggest light to moderate drinking may slightly delay menopause, but the evidence is weak. Heavy drinking is linked to earlier menopause, bone loss, and higher fracture risk. While some research suggests moderate alcohol may have cardiovascular benefits, the risks, particularly breast cancer, generally outweigh any potential benefits. Here's what I've noticed in my own life and with the women I work with. When we reduce or eliminate substances that disrupt our system, our energy improves dramatically. We sleep better. We wake up clearer. We have more vitality for the things that matter. And here's something important. Notice how alcohol affects you personally. Many women find that even small amounts worsen their sleep, increase hot flashes, affect their mood, and drain their energy. So here are 5 key action steps for you. Quit smoking and get support. Stopping at midlife brings immediate benefits to symptoms and bone health. Limit alcohol to 1 to 2 drinks on drinking days, with alcohol-free days each week. Notice how alcohol affects your sleep and energy. Swap afternoon coffee for green tea or herbal tea to protect your sleep. And stay hydrated with water and herbal teas throughout the day. Small reductions in substances that disrupt your system can create big improvements in how you feel. And finally, pillar number 6, connection, pleasure, and purpose. Strong social connections are critical for healthy aging. They're linked with longer life, better management of chronic conditions, and improved quality of life. During the menopause transition, supportive relationships can ease symptoms, protect mental health, and help women feel more resilient. Here's what the research tells us. Loneliness and social isolation increase the risk of chronic illness, disability, and early mortality. They're linked with higher risks of stroke, cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, and fractures. Loneliness is also a strong predictor of depression, anxiety, and other mental health challenges. On the flip side, positive and supportive relationships can improve control of chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and osteoporosis. They lower the risk of stroke, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic syndrome. And women with higher levels of social integration actually live longer. But let's expand this beyond just social connection. Let's talk about pleasure, creativity, and purpose, because these are what make life worth living. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that pleasure has always been at the heart of what I teach. Here's something I want you to hear clearly. Pleasure and sexual wellness are not extras. They are not luxuries. They are fundamental to your overall health and well-being. When we prioritize pleasure, sensual pleasure, sexual pleasure, the pleasure of connection, the pleasure of creativity, we're actually supporting every other pillar we've talked about. Pleasure reduces stress. It improves sleep. It boosts mood and energy. It strengthens relationships. It connects us to our purpose. Your sexual health is part of your holistic health. When you feel alive in your body, when you're connected to your sensuality, when you're experiencing pleasure regularly, whether that's through self-pleasure, partnered intimacy, or any form of embodied joy, you're activating your life force energy. You're telling your nervous system it's safe. You're nourishing yourself in ways that extend far beyond the bedroom. When you prioritize connection and pleasure, when you engage with your creativity, when you align with your purpose, your energy transforms. It's not just about managing symptoms anymore. It's about thriving. Your relationships deepen because you're showing up as your full self. Your work becomes more meaningful because you're connected to why it matters. Your life feels rich, textured, and purposeful. This is why lifestyle medicine and pleasure are not separate paths. They're interconnected. You cannot truly thrive in menopause if you're only focusing on diet and exercise while ignoring your pleasure and sexuality. Your body is designed for pleasure. Your capacity for intimacy, creativity, and joy doesn't diminish with age. It can actually deepen and expand. So here are my 5 key action steps for you. Spend time with people who make you feel supported and talk openly about menopause. Join a community, women's circles, book clubs, movement classes to reduce isolation. Schedule pleasure like appointments and prioritize sensual practices. Baths, dance, nature, intimacy. Explore your sexuality and communicate desires. Self-pleasure and partnered connection matter. And journal with purpose. Ask yourself and reflect, what matters most now? What do I want to create? How do I want to feel in this season of life? The beauty of lifestyle medicine is that none of these pillars exist in isolation. They're all interconnected. When you nourish your body, you have energy to move. When you move, you sleep better. When you sleep better, you manage stress more effectively. When you manage stress, you have capacity for pleasure and purpose. And when you prioritize pleasure, everything else becomes easier, more joyful, more sustainable. It's all connected and it all ripples outward into every area of your life. One of the things that gives me so much hope right now is that menopause care is evolving. We're seeing new tools, more options, and a growing recognition that menopause deserves attention, resources, and personalized care. Menopause hormone therapy, or MHT, has come a long way since the early 2000s when the Women's Health Initiative study created so much fear around it. Today, our understanding of the benefits and risks is much more nuanced. Modern MHT looks different with bioidentical hormones, different delivery methods like patches and gels, and more individualized approaches. For many women, it can be life changing. But here's what's equally important: MHT is not the only option. Non hormonal treatments are expanding, including medications that can help with hot flashes, mood changes, and sleep issues. There are also emerging technology and tools like wearable devices that track your body temperature, your blood glucose, your stress levels, and your sleep habits, giving you more agency over your experience. And perhaps most exciting of all is the shift in how we're talking about menopause. More women are speaking up, sharing their stories, demanding better care. More healthcare providers are getting trained in menopause medicine. More employers are creating menopause-friendly policies. The conversation is changing, and that matters. What lifestyle medicine offers us is a foundational framework, a way to care for ourselves that's accessible, evidence-based, and empowering. It's not about choosing between lifestyle changes and medical interventions. It's about integrating both in a way that works for you. Now I want to shift into something that really feels important to me: the gifts of menopause. Because yes, this transition can be challenging, but it can also be one of the most powerful, transformative times of your life. I've experienced this myself, and I see it again and again with the women I work with. So here are 5 gifts that menopause has brought me and that I believe are waiting for you too. 1, the gift of knowing yourself. Menopause invites you inward. It asks, who am I now? What matters to me most? It's a chance to meet yourself in a new way, with more honesty, more depth, more compassion. You get to shed the versions of yourself that no longer fit and step into who you are becoming. 2, the gift of clarity. Your inner voice gets louder. You begin to see through the noise, the people pleasing, the pushing, the proving, and you realize what's actually worth your energy. This clarity is powerful. It helps you make decisions that align with your values and desires rather than external expectations. 3, the gift of boundaries. You begin to say no without guilt. You protect your energy, your peace, your time, and it feels good. You stop overextending yourself. You stop saying yes when you mean no. And you create space for what truly lights you up. The gift of reclaiming your health. Menopause is often a wake-up call, a chance to upgrade your well-being, body, mind, and soul, from a place of self-respect, not punishment. This is when so many women finally prioritize themselves, invest in their health, and discover what their bodies are truly capable of. 5, the gift of freedom. Freedom from expectations, from outdated roles, from proving your worth. You begin to live more fully, more truthfully for you. There's a liberation that comes with this stage of life when you allow yourself to fully step into it. These gifts don't just appear overnight. They unfold as you move through this passage with intention, as you support your body with the pillars of lifestyle medicine we've talked about today, as you prioritize your pleasure and your well-being. And I encourage you to explore what gifts are waiting for you. What is this transition inviting you into? What new version of yourself is emerging? So here's what I want to leave with you today. You have more power than you've been told, more agency, more choice. Menopause isn't something that simply happens while you watch from the sidelines. It's a passage you get to shape through the daily choices you make. And lifestyle medicine gives you the roadmap to do exactly that. The choices you make each day, how you eat, how you move, how you rest, how you manage stress, who you surround yourself with, all these things matter. They shape your experience. They influence your symptoms, and they impact your long-term health. And you don't have to do this alone. If you're looking for support, if you want a community of women who understand what you're going through, I invite you to connect with me. You can visit pleasureinthepause.com to learn more about my coaching programs, my group courses, and the resources I offer. You can also join my community on social media at Gabriella Espinosa on Instagram, where we share openly about this journey. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's break down the stigma. Let's support each other through this passage every day, not just for one day of the year. Because your pleasure matters, your well-being matters, you matter. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Pleasure in the Pause. Want to help me spread more pleasure in the world? Please hit subscribe to the podcast and share this episode with a friend, a sister, or any woman you care about. Because when we share these conversations, we remind each other we are not alone. Together, we create ripples of empowerment and support that reach far beyond ourselves. Your support means the world to me. Thank you. Remember, your pleasure matters. The information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any decisions about your health or treatment. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host or Pleasure in the Pause.